Hello everyone and welcome back to the High Council. Today we are looking at the latest databank download for Star Wars Shatterpoint, looking at these two in particular. So we have Wicket and C3PO and R2D2. So these are both coming out in one of the upcoming Ewok boxes and are both secondary characters. So I think the first time that we're seeing two secondaries being released in the same box, which is very cool. And we'll get into them. It's nice that we've got here 3PO and R2 on one base. We can see he's got the old silver leg, and we've got Wicket here, looking very very active in motion on the tree branch. So yeah, big fan of the Wicket sculpt. You can't do. I don't think you can do too much with a 3PO and R2 sculpt, but they are again looking very cool. Excited to get these on the table. Do check out the other videos. So we've got loads of Star Wars Shatterpoint content. We've looked at all the previews so far. We've got a couple of battle reports. Do check them out. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on these two. Is it someone you're picking up, or is it someone you're going to pass? And which secondary do you think you'll run more out of the two? But let's get right into it. So today's preview takes us back to the Forest Moon and a closer look at several of the individuals responsible for enlisting the Ewoks to join the Battle of Endor. So we've got some normal spiel up top here, but first of all let's get straight into Wicket's unit card. So he is going to be 4 points cost, bringing you 0 force, and he is Wicket Intreprid warrior, and he's a Wicket secondary unit. He has a stamina of 9, durability of 2, and he has the tags Endor, Ewok and warrior as well. So I think the first thing I noticed is he's not got a lot of abilities, which I was expecting a little more maybe, I think. But we've got 1 tactic and 2 active abilities there. So that first tactic ability is Lead the Charge. So at the start of this unit's activation, choose an enemy character in line of sight and an allied Ewok supporting unit within range 3. So 2 different conditions you got me there. Each character in this unit and each character in the chosen allied unit may dash towards the chosen enemy character. So you're going to be, really wanting to get as close as you can with these guys. You're going to be wanting to punch people in the face as opposed to shoot them with, or throw spears at them or anything like that. And we've got the 2 active abilities. Hunting Horn, the first one. So this is an action. So one of the few, if not I think the only ability, that is going to cost you one of your actions at the minute. So it's going to be very interesting to see how often it gets used. But each enemy unit within range 3 that is not engaged gains the pinned condition, and each enemy unit within range 3 that is engaged gains the exposed condition. So I think it's going to be quite situational about when you use it. How many people can you pull off in it? 2 or 3 maybe. But it's going to be very cool. And is it going to be more beneficial than using one of your actions? Another question entirely. And then last of all, we've got the stealthy approach, which we've seen on Ewoks before. So costing 1 force. Each character in the unit may dash, then this unit may gain a hunker token or immediately make a focus action. So nothing there I don't think that really jumps out. The leader charge is quite cool. Getting people as close as they can towards the enemy. Keeping those Ewoks out of ranged fire, where their ranged defense is generally a bit worse. And getting them into melee is could be quite crucial. But let's see if they say anything on here differently about him. Like most Ewok warriors, Wicket is small and learns to rely on utilising the environment, preferring stealthy approach, cover of trees, some dash swiftly towards the enemy, gaining a hunker, or making an aimed attack. Yeah, so nothing too crazy. So yeah, nothing too mad. But let's have a look here at his combat card, stance card even. So he has got a ranged attack. One of the few Ewoks has got a ranged attack. So it's range for 5 dice defensively, 5 dice defensively as well. And he's got a melee attack that is 7 dice if you're engaged, and then 6 dice defensively as well. If we look at his expertise, we've got 1 to 2 for his ranged attack, becoming a hit and an auto damage, and then 3+ becoming a crit and an auto damage as well. And then if he is engaged in melee, we've got 1 to 2 becoming 2 hits, 3 becoming a crit and a hit, and 4+ becoming 2 crits and a hit as well. So very nice. Some opportunities there to get some score some nice crits. And then we've got quick wits as his defensive expertise. So 1 to 2 becomes a block and turn a crit to a hit, and 3+ becoming 2 blocks and turning a crit to a hit as well. But let's have a look at his stance card, because this is his combat tree even, because this is probably where we want to look at. So again, lots of icons. So I've got a lot of these Ewoks. I've got a lot of icons, and we are starting off with a dash and a damage. Before we have our first decision to make, so we're either going to go up top for a damage and a strained, or we're coming down to the bottom for a damage and the disarmed condition. And then if we were to stay on that top tree, we then go across the 2 damage, or we can jump into the middle and get an additional shove. And then that is the exact same along the bottom as well. We either go up into the middle, or we take 2 damage by continuing along the bottom tree. And then along that top tree, we've then got a further 2 damage, followed by a damage and the exposed condition. And on the bottom tree, we've got a dash, followed by a damage and the pinned condition. So you can give out quite a few conditions. You're giving out a maximum of 2 potentially, but a couple of shoves maybe in there as well. Or you might just want to absolutely go hell for leather with your attack, and you could pick up 7 damage in total. So not bad for someone who's a secondary. You're rolling 7 dice as well, potentially 8 with a focus action, anything like that. So the chances of getting that 4 successes are probably quite high. Added in the expertise and everything like that. So you're probably going to put out some decent damage with Wicket quite often, and that's about it. A couple of conditions as well if you wanted to do that, but nothing that I think makes me jump for joy. So that's a little shame. But let's get on to C3P0 and R2D2. So they are a 4 points cost secondary unit as well, with the C3PO and R2D2 keywords. So you're not going to be able to run these with R2 and Lando that come in the Fearless and Inventive Squad Pack with Luke as well. So one or the other. With these, which is a little bit of a shame, it would have been nice to run a C3PO with like R2 and Lando for a full kind of Return of the Jedi Jabba's sail barge kind of look. But who knows? Maybe that's coming down the line. We'll wait and see, basically, after what's coming up with these releases here. So we've got, they have a stamina of 8, a durability of 2 as well, and then they have the tags Droid and Rebel Alliance. And then they've got 1 active ability, a reactive ability, and 2 innate abilities as well. And I think what's very cool with C3PO and R2 is these are one of the few secondaries that come with a stance card that you can flip from side to side. So whereas every other secondary has just got the 1, these have got 2. Which in reality represent whoever's taking the lead, C3PO or R2D2. But we'll get into that after we've looked at the unit card first of all. So starting off with Brilliant Oration. I've probably pronounced that wrong, feel free to correct me. Costing 1 force is your active ability. Choose an allied Ewok supporting character within range 4. The chosen character may gain Hunker, Heal, or make a 5 dice attack. So very, very nice. Couple of free heals or anything like that. Giving out a Hunker token is pretty good, and I'll probably keep preferring this for a long time. But if you've got Leia, who is making all your rebels Ewoks as well, that could be any of your supporting characters. And then we've got the first reactive ability. So R2, I'm not sure that's such a good idea. When an allied Ewok unit or an allied Rebel Alliance unit begins its activation within range 5, this unit may use this ability. The activating unit may remove any number of conditions from itself, then that unit suffers 1 damage for each condition it removed after the first. So I think this is awesome. I think this is ultimately a range 5 bubble, giving all of your allied Ewoks or Rebel Alliance, which are probably going to be everyone that you take. They're going to get ultimately a free heal to remove 1 condition from themselves. And the ability to actually remove multiple conditions, but they will suffer damage. So as soon as they take the second condition off, they'll suffer a damage. 3 conditions, they'd suffer 2 damage. But it could be really key, if you wanna lose that disarmed and that pinned condition. The cost for 1 damage is probably quite worth it. And it's just the fact that it's a range 5 bubble, so that is very, very cool. And then we've got the first innate ability, so Divine Influence. So this is where you can see that we've got 2 different stance cards. So when this unit's stance card is against my programming allied Ewok scout units within range 4 have the scale keyword. And while the active stance is angry trilling, allied Ewok warriors within range 4 have the steadfast condition. So if you can scale or steadfast, steadfast is potentially the better of the two, giving you that free, preventing that free push. But it could be entirely situational. I'd probably want it in steadfast more often than not. Although, yeah, your Ewok scouts having that scale might just be what they need to get to an objective or anything like that. So that could be very cool. And then finally, we've got the last innate ability. Goodness gracious me. While one or more allied Ewok units that are not wounded within range 3, characters in this unit cannot be targeted with ranged attacks. So this is you have a shield of Ewoks basically in front of you, to be quite honest. You just want to keep an Ewok unit within range 3 of them so that they are themselves kept relatively safe. But I think if you're running in and trying to smack people in the face with C3P0 and R2D2, you potentially may be doing something wrong. Although I'm sure one of these games I'll get proved wrong and R2D2 will do something like wound Darth Vader or something like that, which would be very fun to see. But yeah, you've got an Ewok unit around. You're not going to be shooting C3P and R2. But then on the flip side is that does make them themselves more of a, like the Ewok unit, more of a target, because you're not going to have the choice of shooting between the two. You're just going to have to shoot the one Ewok. So it could be a little dangerous. But we've got these pair of droids have not anticipated how well they would eventually get on with the Ewoks, but a strong bond was quickly formed, particularly after 3PO attained the statue of a minor god, which is very cool. And then let's have a look here and we get into the stance guard. So we've got the two here, against my programming and angry trilling. We're going to look at against my programming first. So this is the C3PO is in charge kind of side. And so he has got no range attack, but he's going to roll 5 dice against range attacks himself. And then if he gets into melee, he's rolling a 5 dice attack with 5 dice defensively himself as well. And then we've got Bash and Oblivious as his expertise. So melee Bash is going to give you one hit. 2 to 3 expertise becomes a hit and a heal. And then 4+ becomes a crit and a heal as well, which is quite nice. And then Oblivious being his defensive expertise, 1 to 2 giving you 1 block, 3 giving you a block and a heal, and then 4+ being 2 blocks, a heal, and turn a crit to a fail as well, which is quite nice. But then if we look at that combat tree, you can see that he is here to be a supporting character, because we are starting off with 1 heal, followed by 2 heals, followed by an active ability, followed by the disarm condition, and then finally 2 damage. So if you get all the way to the end of that combat tree, you are pinging out 2 damage. But if you get to that 3rd one and you're getting that active ability off, you are getting this brilliant oration ability out there. So you're either healing your Ewoks, doing more heals for your Ewoks, making attacks, giving them hunkers, anything like that, being a real support. And then if we looked at his R2 side, so angry trilling, exactly the same defensively as both 5 dice for ranged and melee, but he's going to roll 6 dice if R2 is in charge in a melee attack. And then we've got his expertise, so we've got Bash and Obstinance for these two. So if he's attacking, 1 expertise becomes 1 hit, 2 to 3 becomes a hit and a damage, and 4+ becomes a crit and a damage as well. So very similar to 3PO's, but 3PO is giving you the heal, R2 is giving you the damage instead. And then finally the defensive expertise, so 1 to 2 is becoming a block, 3 is becoming a block and a dash, and then 4+ is becoming 2 blocks, turn a crit to a fail and a dash as well. So exactly the same as Oblivious here, although Oblivious to getting the heal, Obstinate to getting the dashes out instead. So yeah, very very cool. Going to be situational. I think the fact that generally, depending on what side you want to be on, probably depends on what you need more. If you want some more movement, or you need the heals, because you're rolling the same defensively for both anyway. And then if we look at R2's combat tree, so we're starting off with 1 shove, followed by a damage and a shove, followed by 2 damage, followed by the strained condition, followed by 2 damage as well. So yeah, up to 5 damage with a strained condition, a couple of shoves in there. Is pretty nice. I probably like the R2 side more than the 3PO side, although I probably like being a bit more aggressive than defensive, and I'm sure that 3PO will come back and haunt me one day. So that is, yeah, did they say anything here? Nothing. Against my programming reflects 3PO's discomfort with violence, allowing for droids to engage in combat tree with minimal damage. Yeah. And that's it. So yeah, that is a look at 3PO and 3PO, R2 and Wicket for Star Wars Shatterpoint. I think personally I'm going to run 3PO and R2 a lot more. But when I just want to take an entire team squad that's field of Ewoks, I'm sure Wicket will make it onto the table. So yeah, thank you very much if you're still around. Thanks for checking the video out. Do let me know down below what your thoughts are. Who are you going to run more? Are you looking forward to one of these more than the other? Check out the other Shatterpoint content, and we'll see you in the next video.